Welcome to Slamfire. This is part 2 of our two-part video series where we disassembled the rifle in the previous video, our Stag Arms Model 1 AR15, and now we're going to put it back together. Because as of now we just have a pile of rifle parts on the table and we're going to turn that back into a completed rifle. So let's do this. Kind of clear our workspace here. Alright, so our first part here is putting the extractor back on the bolt. So now, first thing you'll notice when putting this on here is that the back of the extractor, the end of it, kind of sticks up a little bit. The reason for that is because there's a spring on the back of the extractor. So we want that to be nice and smooth, so push down, put pressure on the back of it. That way you can take your tiny little pin here, slip that in there. There you go. And what you want to try to do is get it nice and even on both sides, just so it goes into your bolt carrier group nice and smooth. Alright, so now as far as putting this in here, you want to make sure that your extractor is on the right side of the bolt carrier group. And how do you know which side is the right side? Good question. This little piece right here that sticks up is going to be at the top. This is what receives the gas and pressure through the gas tube every time you fire. So that's going to be on top, and you just want to make sure that your extractor is on the right side of that. So just put that in there, give it a little tap, goes right in. And one thing you'll notice is that there's a hole right there, kind of a groove cut out. There's also a hole in the bolt. You want to make sure that those two things line up so that your pin can go back in there. And if you look at the top of the pin, you can notice it's longer this way than it is this way. That's how you want to put it in. You want to put it in with long way to the bolt, parallel to the bolt. So it just kind of fits in there, and you'll notice if it's facing the right way because it'll just drop in as it should. And then you just turn it, and you'll know that it's in there. If it won't come out, then you're good to go. Next is the firing pin. This is very simple. All you have to do is just slip it in the back, let it fall down on its own. Gravity do the work. And then you have your retaining pin. You just want to slip that in there. You know, you can kind of squeeze it together if you want. You don't really have to though, because it just goes in there. And if it doesn't go in all the way, this is very easily remedied. You just take it, and as you push on it, just kind of twist it back and forth, and then it should just kind of go in there. So now your bolt carrier group is all completed, assembled. Set that to the side. So now let's finish the upper. So we're going to take our charging handle. In the previous video I mentioned about the whole grooves that are cut right here that the charging handle goes into. So if you'll notice, if you try to put the charging handle in here, it doesn't go in. That's because you can't put it in this way. There are little notches on the side of the charging handle that prevent it from going in right there. So what you want to do is you want to actually put it in the part where the bolt sits and just kind of press it along the top. And as you just kind of work your way, it should find the grooves and just go right in there. So then you just kind of, you know, get it up in there, and then just kind of slide it forward and just halfway in. That way your bolt can go in there, because this little piece that sits up here goes right underneath the charging handle. And as we notice, it's not going in. That is because in order for the bolt carrier group to go in, the bolt has to be all the way forward. If it's back, it won't go in. It has to be all the way forward. And there you go. Snaps right in, you're good to go. So let's set that to the side. Now let's work on our lower. So here we have our recoil spring and our buffer. It goes in very easily. Spring in, just kind of push it all the way in there, and it should just snap right in. Kind of give it a little pressure, because there's this little pin here. It keeps it in there, and you're good to go. And then take our stock, put that back on. Now you notice if I just set it on there, it's not actually hooked in yet. It's just kind of set in there. What we have to do is take this lever, pull out on it, and as we're pulling out, just kind of go down a little bit. And it just snaps in there. Now we're good. Lower is all put together. Now all we have to do is attach the upper to the lower. Just line up the holes, push in the pin, line up the holes, push in the pin, and there you go. So every time I do this, whether I do it for cleaning or just for fun, or I like to do a functions test just to make sure everything is back together how it should be. So bolt or charging handle works fine, bolt locks back, bolt release works just fine. You can do it by pulling the charging handle back, it all works. And then safety works. And I also like to load up a mag with a few dummy rounds just to make sure everything cycles right and that the extractor extracts. Alright. And it locked back after the last one, so there you go. It is all put together and good to go. Sweet. So I guess that means it's ready to shoot. You know where you'll find me, on the range. See you next time.